Did you watch any of the Stars game? Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between. Glad that you're with us this morning on the Hodge Pack, 106.9, the country giant, rocking and rolling this Friday morning. We are brought to you by Lotto Land and Cattle. Our guests do appear on our Pest Patrol phone line. We'll have that ringing a little bit later today. But we're glad that you're with us. Hodge in. Josh is at Arlington watching the Big 12 championship tournament with his kiddos and family. Misty will join us. We'll have her back a little bit later. But joining us this morning, a familiar voice to all the big country and the Hodge Pack was here when I was gone. Trace Michaels joining us. So good to see you. And
Is this thing on? Mic check.
Mic check. We are working. We are rolling. A lot of stuff to cover. The end of the year of baseball, softball happening across the big country. NBA playoffs. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about sports movies. We threw that out on our social media question this week about what makes a good movie, what makes a good story. Anyway, just tons to talk about. But appreciate you getting up this morning with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the invite. I know when I had my show, you filled in for me when I was gone, which ended up, I guess, being the impetus for this thing. So that's awesome. It's glad to come in here. As we start, can I give a quick shout out? Do you mind?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I don't want to take over your deal.
No.
Go ahead. Sammy Winters, head coach, athletic director at Hermley. He's also the softball coach, coaches everything up there. Buddy of mine, he's a big-time collector as well, especially a really collector and stuff. They won game one yesterday, regional finals up in Lubbock. I'm trying to wrap that series up today to go back to the state tournament, so I want to wish them good luck this morning. I don't know if he's listening or not, but did want to throw that out because he's a good buddy of mine. We talk almost every day about sports memorabilia stuff. So I want to wish him good luck today.
Well, again, we'll dive right into that with our Lawrence Hall headline report. Again, we got some folks still in the playoffs rolling along, and so that is one of them, Holly, the Hermley Cardinals. And they had a story on them. They beat Borden County, which a buddy of mine is coaching other team there, in Bubba Edwards. I learned that this week that Coach Edwards had started coaching softball at Borden County, but they did. Hermley wins game one, and it's amazing. I've said all along, I don't care if it's schools, if it's convenience stores, whatever it is, facilities matter.
Sure.
And when I was coaching at Roby, Hermley's gym was about the size of the studio, and you could press, and you couldn't throw a baseball pass because you would hit the wall. But it's amazing the facilities that they've had and the success that they had. Of course, Coach Hopper, who's now the girls' coach at Wiley, that had some success on the basketball side for Hermley, and the mindset of Hermley is totally different now. Part of that being facilities. The Coach Gibson, I believe, the athletic director, was talking about the support of the community and the board on providing avenues for that. And again, there is a perk about being at a small school, being able to play everything. And now, unfortunately, you also get to coach everything.
No, yeah. I don't know another, I coached for a while. I don't know that I've ever met a coach that works harder than Samuel. And I'm sure, everybody says that about every coach, right? But this guy, I know one day he was passing through here, and I had picked up some memorabilia stuff for him when I was making a trip up to Dallas to load up. And he was passing through here taking the cheerleaders to a competition.
Right.
And he called me and said, "Hey, can you meet at the Walmart on the north side?" So what are you doing? Cheerleading competition. I was like, "What?" Yeah. Okay. It's not very often that can you see like Coach Sandifer back in the day taking the cheerleaders to cheerleading competition? I mean, it's just
no. Now he might be there to support, but he's probably not taking.
No, he's driving the bus, man. This guy was driving the way he was stopping there to fill up with gas. That's why he wanted to meet there. So these small school coaches, a lot of times they go unnoticed because they are from a small school and nobody really gives them much attention. But they probably work more hours than anybody because they're coaching.
I've said it all along. My time at Roby it starts in July when you go to coaching school, and it ends in May in the last track meet.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're coaching in the spring because you do everything. And so But yeah, so Hermley wins last night. Also, Stanford in softball beats Forest Sand in game 1, 6-1 in the softball side. Baseball last night. Wiley loses to Argyle. It was a tough. Wiley had an opportunity to kind of open things up early in the first. I think it was the second inning, but unfortunately lose 7-1 last night to Argyle. We'll play game 2 today at 1 o'clock at ACU, and then of course Holly's still in the baseball playoffs as well. And so follow that, check them out, check out Evan Wren and those guys. They'll let you know what all is going on. But that is what's happening across the big country, which is weird because like today, Wiley's playing game 2. Hopefully they win game 2, force that third game. And so many of these seniors, and it's going to happen across the state, many of them either graduated last Friday, graduate tonight, and will still be representing the school next week in either the next round of the baseball playoffs or a state tournament in softball. And so there's really no way to either change that because you can't move it up anymore.
No.
I mean, they already start when it's booty cold February. Everybody always asks, well, do you officiate basketball? Are you going to do baseball? I said, no. In basketball, that gym's always going to be 72 degrees. And in football, you start off hot, end cold. In baseball, you start off cold and end hot. And so there's really no way to adjust that. So you'll have some folks. And of course, you had the state golf tournament that on the boys' side at the end of this week. I know Seth Sanford from Eula was out playing in it. Had a pretty decent first day. He had a Michael Block type day on day 2, but congratulations to him. And so that is part of our Lawrence Highland report on the baseball and softball world. Other things yesterday, speaking of Colonial, we'll talk more about the PGA Championship in our next segment. But Colonial happening, my favorite tournament outside the Dell Match Play, RIP, it's going away. But Colonial is such a great course. The history there, the trees that you can find a spot and sit and watch. But yesterday, Harry Hall, it's similar to the PGA Championship. The story last week was not the champion of the PGA Championship in Brooks Koepka. It was a little bit, but it was Michael Block. Yesterday, Harry Hall with his little Payne Stewart-looking hat shoots 62, 8 under, is leading after round 1.
He may shoot 8 over today.
Huh?
He may shoot 8
he
over
may
today.
shoot 8 over today, but he is the first-round leader.
I bet he doesn't win. You want to go 5, but he doesn't win.
I bet he doesn't win either. I bet he makes the cut and finds a way to still get a decent check.
But that is, knowing that golf course pretty well, 62 there, shoot.
And they were fortunate. Yesterday we had a lot of rain still early in the morning yesterday, and it never really saw any of that in Fort Worth. But Harry Hall shoots 8 under yesterday, 62. Harris English 5 under, and then there's a slew at 4 and 3 under. Scotty Scheffler and defending champion Sam Burns. Those two buddies getting to play together, -3 there. And of course, Michael Block getting the exemption because of locally. One of the Cootie twins decided to play in the Corn Ferry Tour instead of the Colonial, try to earn enough points to get his card. So Michael Block shoots an 81 yesterday, but still eating it up.
So when you go to Colonial, what do you do? Are you a follow somebody? Are you a camp
It
guy?
depends. It depends. If it's if like back when Webb would play in it and Paul Tesori, the caddy buddy of mine, I would follow Webb for a little bit, or when Chad Campbell was there. But most of the time, I like to find a spot because follow some people for a while, and then the thing that I like about Colonial is there are places where you can sit and you get a good tee shot look and you get a green look.
Yeah, that's my deal. I always go to number 9 tee box. It's on the very back of the course, next to the road. And 9, it was a 9 and 12 share a tee box. And
they're close, and then you got
8, the par 3 is right there, and there's a food hut, bathrooms, and you can literally.
And to me, that's the other thing that's important when you go to a golf tournament. We went to the Byron a couple weeks ago for the first time at TPC Craig Ranch, and that was new, didn't know really where. And now if I went back, I would know where I'd go.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. You've got to know where closest to the restroom.
Yeah.
Just in obviously watch plenty of golf, and where you stand that you get a good look at it. And I think that's a 9 is a really good one.
I like to go there on Fridays and sit right there because you'll watch them putt on 8. watch them tee off on 9, and then watch them tee off again on 11, 12.
Yeah.
And so you get to see every player 3 times if you go on 9, go on Friday before the cut. So that's my plan.
Right. And people, I know we got some folks that are friends of ours that are going to be there today. And so, Brad Brazel, hopefully you're tuning in on your way to Fort Worth. A couple other things. Last night, the Dallas Stars get game 1. They finally win an overtime game, winning 3-2, extending the Western Conference Finals. Florida is a real hot spot right now. Florida wins the Eastern Conference Finals. They're waiting to either face Dallas or Las Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals. So that is happening there. Last night, the NBA, Boston gets game number 2 win for them. They win game number 5, 110-97. Jimmy Butler, only 14 points. And now, to me, of course, Gabe Vincent didn't play.
To me, that's the story. I mean, this guy comes out of nowhere and he's lighting it up. And now
he's kind of like the Reeves from the Lakers. It's kind of giving him a spark.
And then all of a sudden he doesn't play, and he's probably not going to play in the next one. And so is this one of those where the Celtics can come back? They might do it.
Well, and I think the pressure now falls on the Heat.
Sure.
Even though they're the 8th seed, they don't belong. They've gotten farther. They're on house money, all the things. But you've got a chance to get in. Now, is the NBA Finals better Nuggets, Boston?
Yeah, well, I promise you, when the 2 conference finals were set, and you had the Lakers in one and the Celtics in the other, the NBA had their fingers crossed that they were going to get a Lakers-Celtics NBA Finals. And obviously the Lakers side didn't happen. For me, Nuggets Heat, I don't mind that.
I don't think either one of them.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think either one of them are bad, but I do think now Boston has a little confidence. You've won 2 in a row. You've won at Miami. Obviously, you've won at home. Now you're going back Saturday. Now Miami's got to start questioning themselves. Oh, man, is my Cinderella slipper? Because that's what they are. I mean, let's face it, the NBA playoffs with them making the run is a March Madness slipper field.
Yeah, when you're an 8 seed and you're up 3-0 in the conference finals, that's pretty amazing.
Well, and again, so that's set. Game 7 or Game 6 will be tomorrow. And then the Nuggets and Joker and Jamal, they're just hanging out, waiting to see who they're going to play, whether they're going to be traveling to Boston first or if Miami's coming to them.
I think I got my Nuggets all the way. They're so good, man.
They're so good, and when your best player is very big and good and selfless and all those things, I think Denver will definitely take that.
He's everything that Luka needs to become.
Oh, 100%. That is 100% correct. All right, well, that's our Lawrence headline report. When we come back again, Misty will be joining us a little bit later. When we come back, we're going to look at the PGA Championship. What a story. What it really inspired a lot of the rest of the show when it comes about sports movies, because last week, what Michael Block experienced, somebody is writing a script.
Absolutely.
And so when we come back, we'll look at the PGA Championship. What does it mean for the LIV guys? I'm going to get Trace's take on LIV. We both love golf, but we've never had the LIV conversation. We'll have that and much more in the Storybook Story called The Block Party right after this. What is your take on the LIV?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. We keep it fresh.
I like it.
You should see Coach Winter's collection of it. He's a Hamilton collection. Dude, he sent me a picture yesterday. He bought the jersey that Hamilton wore when he caught the first pitch from the kid. His dad died. He's got the jersey that Hamilton was wearing back then.
Oh, wow.
He's got.
So, have you seen the King's Collectible show on Netflix? Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it yet. People keep telling me I need to watch it. But at night is when I do my most work. Because at night is when all the Facebook groups are active and guys are selling stuff. And that's how I get good deals. I've funded my business by being able to find cards for guys who.
Are you more strictly cards or other memorabilia? I'm telling you, that's what that dude. I haven't watched all of them, but the first couple were pretty entertaining. On a huge scale, basically. This guy's got this warehouse size of you name it, and they were doing one for Jackie Robinson month day and trying to sell this package and all these different things, and it's pretty crazy the amount of money people were trying to spend, and that's what he was. I mean, they go find it, say, hey, tell you what, I'll sell this for you. We'll get our cut, you'll get the rest or whatever. And it's a huge consignment.
Well, it's in these Facebook groups. So I'm a member of 4 or 5 different Ranger collectible groups, and there's always people that are selling off stuff on the cheap for whatever reason. So like 2 nights ago, a girl down by Austin, youngest son graduated from high school tonight. They're about to go on vacation. She wanted some extra spending money, so she puts up about $600 worth of cards in the Facebook group, and she only wants $200 for the whole thing because she needs it to sell fast.
Right.
So I'm sitting there pouncing, waiting. Is that $200 for the cards? You know, even if I price them just normal, it's $600. And if I price it for a deal for Ryan, well, it's $400. I make money. So at night, I don't get to watch. I have 2 screens. I'll have the Ranger game on one screen, and then I'm fishing around looking for deals. And everything happens at night because people are working during the day. So I don't get to watch as much normal television as my son tells me all the time, Dad, you work too much. I'm like, well, you don't see during the day when I take a 2-hour nap because there's nothing going on.
Right.
It so happens the work day in the card world is in the evening. That's when breaks are happening, so you keep up the products out there. It's all that goes on at night. So I probably work more from 8 to 2 in the morning than like it felt weird last night going to bed at 11. So,
That's early.
Yeah. Not informed, that's good. You're out looking around. And you got to be fast because there's other guys doing the same thing. I had a guy message me. He said, "Can't believe you beat me to those Josh Young contender cards." Well, pay attention, buddy. Last night there was a guy taking bids on Facebook on a Jonah Heim card. So I put a bid on it. And then I get a message from a guy that I just bought cards from.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, Sports Life and everything in between. We're rolling in hour number 1, Embark Land Management, hour number 1, trucking along, hanging out in the Potosi Life studio. Trace and Hodge here. Misty will join us a little bit later. But we want to talk about the PGA Championship, the 105th PGA Championship. The winner was Brooks Koepka. He won his 5th major, his 3rd PGA Championship, in pretty dominating fashion, really, for the most part. There wasn't a whole lot of... Well, there was until Victor Hovland found the bunker.
Oh, man. That was crazy. 2 days in a row. Different player, but 2 days in a row. Same place in the bunker.
Almost same spot.
Right? You could see to the right of Hovland's ball, when they were showing the close-up, the hole from that other guy's ball the day before was still there. And Ryan, they were, an inch and a half away from each other?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
It was unbelievable. Again, the PGA Championship last week, and what Brooks Koepka was able to do, the player that he is. I think if he was a little more healthy and a little more sure of himself months before his decision, I think he's one of the guys that would not have made the jump to live if he'd have had a little more confidence in himself then.
Well, I didn't come on the show to be the disagreeing guy, but I actually think the exact opposite. And because I think that Liv is perfect for Brooks Koepka, because Brooks doesn't want to play that much.
But he doesn't want to play that much. But I think, but he loves competitive golf.
Yeah, well,
what he's doing on Liv is not competitive golf.
No, but he got paid, and he doesn't have to play 40 tournaments a year anymore. Now, I think the only thing that it might have given him pause, had he had all of the information going into the Liv deal, is his ability or inability. We'll see what happens to be able to play in all the majors. Because some of that's still up in the air. What's going to happen?
Well, I think right now the fact that they're letting him, I don't think that's going to change. I don't think now that you've seen a Liv guy win a major. Now, I don't think they're going to change now that they're letting all four of them. All four majors are allowing live players. Now there's talk about the Ryder Cup. Is that I don't think they're going to change that. I think you're going to still see that.
I agree, but it's about world ranking points sometimes when you get in. And since they're probably not, or at least they're going to fight it, given the live guys the world ranking points, some of those guys could fall outside of that automatic.
Right. I think the only way that you're going to see, I think the way you're going to still see these guys playing in it is playing because they are winners. That they're, Brooks Koepka can play in the U.S. Open, the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship forever.
Sure.
And I'm sure there's an exemption right now for winning the majors of putting him in the Masters. So he does have that window.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said, and I put in the notes, and I don't think there's another guy out there that'll win a major on the live, except, and I gave Greg Cunningham credit, Cam Smith may be the other one.
Yeah.
But the only other ones that might is because we've seen it happen with Ben Crenshaw. We've seen it happen with Bubba. We've seen it happen with previous guys that have won at Augusta, because it's not going to change a whole lot. It may get longer or something, but for the most part, those guys, I could see Patrick Reed maybe winning a Masters again. I don't know about Sergio, but those are the guys that I think could win another major, but I don't see it happening. Now, before we get to the Michael Block story, would you want Brooks Koepka on the Ryder?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want the Ryder Cup to be the best players. You asked me, or you said you wanted to get my live take, and then you asked me out here outside. I tell you, I don't necessarily, and this is weird for me because you've known me a long time. I'm a traditionalist. I'm not a big fan of change. It took me a second with the pitch clock in baseball. I love it now, but it took me just a second. As I'm getting older, I know that I get to keep an open mind. So at first I was like anti-live. This is terrible. But then I started thinking about it in terms of myself or any of my friends. If you had that opportunity to play less and get paid a lot more, would you take it? A lot of people would,
But I've told people my stance on it is I've never had life-changing money.
No.
But the life-changing money that a lot of these guys, now they earned a lot of it through their play and endorsements and all that. There were a number of them that made the move that already had life-changing money. Now, Pat Perez, in the grand scheme, is life-changing money, but not what was offered. Guys that have made 70, 90 million on tour and then made the jump, those are the ones that I had a hard time with. And to this day, Bubba's probably one of the biggest ones that I had a hard time with being a Bubba Watson fan, is those guys that made the jump, because and maybe it'll change, but nobody's going to care who won the 5th annual if it makes it that long. Tulsa Live Open.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody's going to care about that.
I think for most of us, and my only issue with Live is the money connection, where that money's coming from, and what that regime stands for. I think I absolutely. I have a hard time stomaching Brandel Chambly, by the way, on the Golf Channel.
Right.
But I think he's right on this particular point, that where that money comes from, I would have some issue with that. So my only issue with Live is the source of the funds. The rest of it, as far as the format, I haven't watched one bit.
I haven't watched it.
And that is sad, because my son said it best, Ryan. When the PGA started last week, he was in the living room watching, and I sat down and he said, DJ, I miss DJ. And I thought, that's the bad part of Live, because for Pete's sake, their television deal is on the CW. That tells you, what your tour really is.
Right.
We don't have the big boys clamoring to sign you, and you end up having your stuff on the CW. So, but as far as me being against the players, no. I think you got to make your own decision on that. But I don't think it lasts. I think these guys are going to write apology letters and then get back on the tour next couple of years.
Well, I hope so. But and here's the other thing, and I mentioned it. I called into one of the ESPN shows this past week because they were talking about LeBron and whether or not the NBA Finals can be exciting without stars. What happened last week does not happen on Live. Does not happen. It only happens in golf. And last week, part of the PGA Championship, even though Brooks won and he was the highlight, for it. The big highlight was Michael Block.
Oh, yeah. Michael Block was a story bigger.
46 years old, finds a way to not only make the cut, but drains the hole in one. You find out they told him on Saturday. It was almost like if Netflix wasn't following that, they were crazy and need to follow him probably for the next 3 weeks. But he went up. They first shocking part of him. Hey, you get to play with Rory tomorrow. So you get to play with Rory, final day of the PGA Championship, and then you start playing, and everybody's rallying around you and watching you. Amanda Balionis and Colt Knost and all those are following you while a guy's trying to win his 5th major back here. And then you make the hole-in-one that literally, very fitting for NBA final or conference playoffs, whatever you want to call it, drains it just like it damages the hole and drains it, doesn't see it go in. Rory thanks him or congratulates him, and all he can say is, no. He makes it. And then, honestly, the best shot was his up and down and a putt that he made to qualify for next year's PGA Championship.
That was right.
He had to make it.
That was incredible.
T15, and
he gets up and down from there twice out of 10 times.
Right. In the other thing that I wanted to talk about, one, golf is the only sport where you can technically work at it and be able to qualify for a U.S. Open, qualify for a PGA Championship. I can't go and say, look, I can make a lot of free throws. Can I play with you guys tonight against the Heat? It doesn't happen that way.
It's one of the greatest sports on earth, and that's one of the reasons why. I mean, you look at the U.S. Open, and guys, you have to have a certain handicap to try to get into one of the qualifiers. But if you have that handicap, you can actually make a run through. That doesn't happen very often. But the average Joe, quote unquote, can get into the field if they can qualify. And like you said, that doesn't happen in any other sport.
No, but it was fun. I even heard JB Cloud talking on it yesterday. People started watching golf, not because they wanted to see if a live guy was about to win a major. They started watching golf because this Michael Block guy blew up the internet because this random guy that works at a golf course and have you seen the commercial they started playing? There's a commercial, I think it's been 6, 7, 8 years ago, of a commercial that he did for a Rojo Country Club. It's hilarious. Maybe we can find it and play it here in a minute. But he's taken it over, and literally it's a story that created it drew people to golf in a whole different way because this random guy is getting to experience everything that Dustin Johnson was last week and Rory and all those. And I don't know how you simulate when I was coaching and you were doing coaching as well. If you were coaching against somebody that was so fast, it's like, or a great quarterback on the offensive side, your defense, you're like, well, we don't have a guy that could be Johnny Manziel you can't, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't
you can't fabricate somebody to give you the look that you need when you're going to play, say, a Johnny Manziel when he was at A&M. There's nobody on your team that can run the scout team as the quarterback.
Right, they can try.
They can simulate what he does.
But that putt that Michael Block made to qualify, and I don't know if he knew if he had to make it to be T15. I don't know if he saw a leaderboard and was calculating. I don't know. But he made it. There's no way to do that pressure. I go to the golf course and I'll putt. And I'm like, I got to make 3 in a row and I'll stop. First 2 were easy. But how many times I missed that third one from the same exact distance that I just strained 2, you cannot.
And when you get on the golf course and you're playing in the 500 at the club and you have that 3-foot putt when it means something on the course, your heart rate is 10 times that of what you were trying to simulate on the putting.
But because there really was no repercussions. There was no consequence for missing that putt. I just started 3. I'll just throw 3 balls down and try to make it again. But there is true pressure.
Yeah.
And I may ask that. I know Misty just arrived, and we're going to talk about
sports. Time you showed up.
We're going to talk about sports and sports movies. And the reason we talked about that, and I threw it out on Twitter, asking what makes a sports movie great, and we had some great responses. but just talking about there's really no way that pressure can be done and show it. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on some of that when we come back with our sports movie and all those
You
things.
have a second here for me to share something?
Yes.
So you'll remember this. So remember when I had my show, and I used to do the pick'em contest for the majors. So the first U.S. Open, they had to comment in a Facebook post, and then we would assign names, and a guy gets Brooks Koepka, and he was griping about it. So I got a no-name guy, and then Brooks wins it, and the prize was I found autographed golf magazine cover by Brooks Koepka, and that was the guy's prize. And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you think that guy thinks about that piece of memorabilia now?"
You just hope he kept it.
Yeah,
because if he didn't keep it, he's really ticked off.
He's pretty happy right now. He still has it.
Right. All right. So when we come back, we're going to look at those movies and what makes a great sports movie right after this.
I'll never forget that. He was so mad in the comments. Oh man, Brooks Koepka. I didn't even hurt Brooks Koepka. Then he wins the whole thing.
Hi, I'm good.
How you doing there?
Great. Hello. Yeah, that is great.
Oh, it was hilarious. He was so mad. I would do a pick'em thing.
I would love to know if he kept it.
Me too. Yeah, I would do a pick'em. I'd just put, everybody they would put a comment in the post, and then I would go back and just
random.
I'd cut the names.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh yeah.
And I would just draw, and then I'd look back and I'd comment back on their comments. Say, I appreciate you drew. And he was the only guy ever that commented that about who he got.
So
He was the only guy ever, and he was like literally mad.
I bet he feels
What a
like
joke.
an idiot now. He thinks back.
And I remember when he picked it up, he goes, "Is this thing ever going to be worth anything?" I was like,
Yeah, I would. Love to know if he kept it.
I'm sure the people
Misty,
got
put
their
that
own cards in
camera
there.
where you want.
Like, is this one?
Yeah.
It's probably down here.
Oh, Ryan. You're trying to send a nice little deal, buddy. Proud of you.
I appreciate it.
We're like the song Drake. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We're just little by little.
Still trying to make it do a little something different, or make it better each time and add to.
This town still needs full-time support staff that will never happen. People cannot financially support. Stinks. The thing to do would be to find a small signal that most of the hosts did it out of love for the sport. Or you didn't need to get $7 a month in advertising. Advertising sports talk with better return than this. It's such a captive audience. They listen to the whole thing.
Right.
They typically don't change the channel.
All right, so we had. Rolling along. All right, so did you catch any of the dude's story, the golf story?
No, I did not.
All
But
right.
I did hear you say that it should be turned into a movie or somebody.
Well, that's
I was
what
listening earlier.
that's what kind of triggered all this. What's the most important thing about a sports movie? And so I threw that question out, whether it was the sport, the story, actor, and then I had some that had all three, and then I looked up, just put in top sport movies, and there was this Vulture, VLTURE, in their list, they lose all credibility to me because they didn't have. Remember the Titans in it? It was terrible. Hoop Dreams was number 1.
Hoop Dreams?
Yes.
No. No way.
As soon as you see that, you just go ahead, exit out, and go on something else.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yeah, no.
welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. We're rocking and rolling, hanging out. Brought to you by Lytle Land and Cattle. Be sure you check out Lytle Land and Cattle on Facebook. They've got different live music coming up, a lot of things going on. So be sure to check them out. They've got 2 more live at Lytle's. Well, actually, they got next week. They had last night. They got 1 more week at live at Lytle next Thursday. So go check them out. Order you a Hodge Pack. That'll be great stuff.
Order you a Hodge Pack. What is that?
The Hodge Pack is the appetizer at Lytle Land and Cattle.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You got an appetizer named after you?
That is
He's
true story.
very famous.
Man, that's big time. What is it?
Yeah, it's jalapeno poppers, chicken tenders, and chips and salsa and queso. Yeah, it's pretty
You got
cool.
a discount if I mention your friend?
Yes, I would at least just say.
Hodge is the chicken. I don't know what Josh and I are.
Well, depending on the week, you are the jalapeno poppers. that is actually the easiest question to answer.
That's awesome.
That is actually the
We are
easiest.
pretty spicy, that's for sure.
That is the easiest question to answer. No doubt.
I feel like that's Josh, like every week with his hot takes. I'm gonna say that he's a popper. I'll be the chips and salsa.
You are more like
I'm
depending.
just like at the party.
No,
Like,
you are at
it's
the party.
every party.
But you're the base depending on what funny comment that you say that's not meant to be funny but ends up being funnier than it is. That may be you because it may be a queso day and it may be a salsa day, or they may all
Well,
be together.
I mean, this show is obviously great, but it's becoming the better since you joined the show. So you can't go eat somewhere without getting chips and salsa. So you can't have the Hodge Pack without this.
Oh,
That's
you
right.
well, and
So she is-
and
I love
there's
that.
you can have the Hodge Pack with all 3, and then every once in a while, if Josh is gone, you bring in a fun co-host, and then you add even something better to it.
Absolutely.
So it's good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, the Hodge Pack, get it at Lytle. It's great stuff. So Misty's here. We're glad everybody's now with us. Again, Josh is out at the Big 12 tournament with his family, but we started talking and we put it out on Facebook this week because of the Michael Block story. It, in my opinion, I mean, this guy became really, really famous even outside the golf world. He was on other networks. It just wasn't SportsCenter or Fox Sports or anything like that.
Transcend.
Oh, totally. And so it got me thinking about sports movies because everybody's like, oh, start writing this down. There's you a movie, making a hole in one, making a putt, getting to go to the Charles Schwab. He's not going to get a full weekend with Charles Schwab unless something crazy
He
happens.
can come here and have a Hodge Pack on Saturday.
On his way
Yes.
back to California,
As he's
100%.
passing
We
through.
will go with him.
Yeah. Oh,
So he doesn't have to eat alone.
and he's probably right now more recognizable than a large amount of the field at the Colonial right now. If Michael Block goes into Katina Laredo, there in Fort Worth, people are going to know.
Dude, buddy
If-
of mine played the Pro-Am Wednesday, and he posted pictures on Facebook. Guess the one picture he posted with a player,
Michael Block.
Michael Block. He had to get a picture with Michael Block.
Harry Hall, nobody knows. And even Harris English, who's second, who's been on the tour a while, could probably walk in and the majority of people aren't going to know him. But they're going to know Michael Block. And now I want to do this because I threw it out on Facebook. You're killing me, Smalls. One of the most iconic phrases in all of
Yeah.
sports movies ever. You're killing me, Smalls. So because of this story of Michael Block, I threw out what makes a great sports movie. Is it the sport, the story, or the actor? And we had a ton of folks. Now, the leading winner, what do you think the leader was on what makes a great sports movie?
I mean, it's got to be the story.
Yeah.
If the story doesn't hook you, what do you have? So to me, there's not even debatable in my opinion. It's got to be the story.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And
I
then
mean, no story.
yeah.
I mean, there's no story.
Yeah,
Right.
That
So-
hooks you, right? And then the actors, depending on how they portray the story, it may be a one-hit wonder or it may be a repeat watch.
Well, and Britt Pursley said it's not a great movie without all three. And I guess you could look at it that way. If it's going to be great, it's got to have all three. If it only has two of the three, it may just be good. But like the story and the actor that didn't matter, and Doug Connell posted this, Facing the Giants, the acting was not very good, but the story was good. And so it kind of drew you in. But when you start looking at it, and I looked and I'm so disappointed. I went to a couple different sites on what were the best sports movies ever. And started going through it in this vulture.com. I don't know where they get their credibility, but they should lose it. It's kind of like the sports writer that didn't vote Jeter or whoever it was. There was somebody, I think it was Jeter or Griffey, that wasn't a unanimous all-star Hall of Fame inductee. Like one person voted no. That person should lose their credibility to vote. Vulture should too. Their number one movie was Hoop Dreams. I don't even know what that movie is, much
I don't
less.
either. Has anybody seen it?
That's probably a clickbait site. And,
Yeah.
and what they're really hoping is that some sports talk guy in Abilene, Texas will mention their name on the show.
And we
So
just
you'd have never mentioned
dang
it.
it.
You'd have never mentioned it if it had Field of Dreams number one.
No, I would have given them a lot
That's
more
true.
credit
That's
because
true.
that's the side I went to.
That
So,
is true.
But when you start looking at, now some of them, you start looking at the stories. Now, the other thing is, does the story have to be based on truth? Because there's some movies like Draft Day, that's not a true story, but it had everything that was a great story.
Field of Dreams is as fantasy as it comes.
Right.
You know? So,
Field of Dreams.
so it did have true players on it.
I like when it's a true story. I'm kind of a nerd. Like if it's got all these awards, it kind of entices me. I'm like, man, it won all of these Oscars or all of these whatever. It kind of makes me want to watch. But when it's based on a true story, I don't know. It kind of gets me like in my feels a little bit more.
Sure.
Which, and I think that's, again, and the other reason that company that I'm not going to give them any more credit for out loud, they didn't even have Sandlot in there. But like Rolling Stones and Sports Illustrated, great companies that probably know a little bit more than that other company that I'm not going to mention their name anymore because I've already done it once. They had Sandlot and they had Remember the Titans.
Sure.
Because if you look, my favorite sports movies do, and in some of the ones that were listed are based on, like Hoosiers, it happened. Glory Road, it happened. Remember the Titans, Moneyball, Miracle, those that actually happened. And especially if you grew up watching or you were there when Miracle happened, it probably means a little bit more to you. I wasn't, I mean, I was alive, but I wasn't enough to know what was going on. But what are some of those sports movies that the story and the sport matter? Like I had one person say that the sport matters.
I have to disagree because I think about one of my favorite sports movies is Remember the Titans. If it's on, I'm watching it. Another one is The Blind Side. If Remember the Titans was about basketball, I still would have loved it. Like I just loved the story. Same thing with The Blind Side. If it's basketball or I don't know, golf or whatever, for me, I don't think that would change my opinion of the movie. I don't know. I don't think that it matters as much.
Here's my take on that. So I think it matters for initial viewing to a certain extent. So if like Misty, if you're not what sport did you say that is not as big to you?
So I'm not a golfer.
Okay, so if it's a golf movie, then the sport may matter on your first trip to the movie theater. But
Right.
then when you start hearing about this movie that you got to see, now it doesn't matter. So I think there's some of that. For some people, the sport may matter at the beginning. But
It's
then
going
as
to
a
draw them to it.
Yeah, so if it's a golf movie, you're going. whether
Right.
you've heard it's good or not. She's probably not going to.
Yeah, like
So
I
I
haven't
think it
seen
could matter at
Full
the
Swing.
beginning. Yeah, I think it could matter at the beginning, but then once it gains popularity, that part sort of tends to fall.
Although I plan to watch it.
Like Full Swing is a great, but that's
I
a
mean,
series.
that's
It's a series, but
documentary or something.
but like
yeah.
the greatest game ever played about the little guy or Bagger Vance. You know,
Yeah.
those are. And what's funny is some of the best golf movies are not true.
Bagger
Right.
Vance is terrible. That is a terrible movie.
Well, I mean, there's people that like that. Like, but the greatest game ever played.
You know why it's a terrible movie? Have you read the book?
I've not.
It's different. I read the book, and I couldn't wait. I read the book before they ever made the movie. Now, I couldn't wait for that movie to come out. When it was different, I was like, what just happened?
Oh, what a letdown.
What just happened
Well,
here?
good. I don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
But you start like
Read the book.
some of the best golf movies weren't based on truth. I've said all along, two of the biggest things that have changed golf: Tiger Woods and Happy Gilmore. And Happy Gilmore, Tin Cup,
Tin Cup.
Yeah.
Caddyshack, all three of those movies
I
are
have
not
seen
based
those
on truth.
movies. I
Are
have
not
seen
based
those.
on true stories, but they're funny and great movies. My favorite, and I'm glad that company lost their credibility because where they had my favorite sports movie, Hoosiers, is like way down there, and I love Hoosiers. I mean, obviously it's basketball,
Right.
and probably one of the other basketball movies that I like that has a terrible story, but the acting's almost so bad it's hilarious. Is Blue Chips.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Air Bud.
No, those were great. Air Bud was very educational.
I like Air
Everybody
Bud.
that had a dog tried to get their dog to learn how to do that.
We
You know,
did.
you could have been the star at White Men Can't Jump.
I could have been.
Another solid choice.
But why are they remaking it? Apparently, they've remade it and it's on Hulu now, and it's totally different.
No,
I've not watched it
I'm not
There are
watching
certain-
it.
because here's another sports movie that I don't know what people want to take on this, but it got better, then it got worse. Is Rocky? Like Rocky 1 is listed in some of these folks,
It's one of the greatest movies ever.
It is
Period.
great.
and I was not a fan of Rocky 1. Like-
Adrian,
Like my
come
favorite
on.
Rocky's got to be Rocky 4, and then Rocky 5 was terrible, and then Rocky 712.
It's like
was-
Fast and the Furious. How many more are there going to be?
Well, and as long as Sly is alive, I guess you can keep
Yes,
Rocky.
no, yeah.
But so, do you think Rocky 1's the best Rocky?
I don't know about that. To me, I think it's the most iconic, just because that is the first. So when they made the Apollo movie or whatever
Creed?
movie, yeah, Creed. What was the one part in that movie that kind of stood out? It's when he started running, right, and he runs up the steps.
Right.
You know, well, if there's no Rocky 1, you know, I mean, that's so iconic to me. I go for iconic stuff.
Well, again, because of Michael Block's story, it got me thinking about movies and what matters, and story was high on the list. Only one person had actor, and I think it wasn't necessarily actor. He said Denzel Washington
Yes.
because I'm sure Coach Boone was fantastic.
You can have Denzel Washington in any movie.
He's
It
so
automatically
great.
makes it better.
He could have been Tin Cup and hitting it instead of Kevin
Well,
Costner.
you could do a whole show. You could do a whole show on factual historical sports movies and a whole show on fictional sports movies.
Yeah.
I think they're two different things. You know?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
So anyway, but Michael Block, the block party is going to end today. We will look.
Yes,
He'll be teeing off this morning. Had a late tee time yesterday, early this morning, and so anyway, great
Dude,
stuff.
they
Thank
sleep
you.
for a week.
Oh, yeah, he'll be fine. But when we come back, we'll open up Misty's bag. We're excited at the top of the hour for our My Town segment, where we'll have Mayor Weldon Hurt and talk about not only
We are
things
big
going.
time,
We
y'all.
are
The
big time.
mayor is
Yeah.
in the house.
Mayor and also the president of Pitter Patter. We'll be back right after this.
Hi.
What's up?
How are you?
What's up, Mr. Mayor?
Hey, brother.
Hey, man, buddy.
Good.
I'm so glad I'm filling in on the day you're here, man.
I know. So excited.
And here's a hat for you. I don't know if you're a hat wearer.
Christ, I didn't know you were here.
That's
Oh.
okay.
It's all
He
good.
didn't bring me something last time I was.
Uh-oh.
No big deal.
Oh my gosh, is this Whitey built?
Look at your coat. Your coat.
Oh my
Josh,
gosh.
be jealous.
Oh, he's gonna be so. This is amazing. I knew it. This is so great. You have to tell Trace the story because I don't know if he knows this. So, Weldon was on. Gosh, it was like, was it like last year maybe?
Was it during the picks?
Probably.
Yeah, it was.
And he, all of a sudden, there's like a cup and it's behind the computer, and I look over there and it's like Whiteyville, Texas.
That's what you get from this.
That's right. Coming from someone who's missing next week. Yeah, y'all don't do anything fun next week. Or I can just FaceTime y'all from the beach.
Where are y'all going?
Cabo.
Bravo. Be careful down there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully we'll be okay since we're not going to like, you know, the other side.
Stay on
Yeah, we will be on the resort.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
I love it. This is yummy. So cute.
Missy, see if you can hear in those.
Are they not plugged? Yes.
Okay. Okay. 3 more commercials.
I could never ever do it.
Really? Oh, geez. And they're broken. No, I'm just kidding.
Being able to hear what you actually sound like out there is actually so beneficial.
I sound like cornbread, so there's
Well,
that.
but the other thing that and
So
Josh
I
does
don't
the some, but the other thing is when this is played, or if the caller is in, you can't hear it because the phone's plugged into the deal, and then all the hotkeys come through here.
Yes, I do like to, but I know when it's mine because you start dancing every week. It's the best.
I hope Mulligan's got a lot of folks tonight.
Yes, yeah,
Maybe the weather will stay away.
I know. Hopefully,
Maybe everybody will go there for after graduation. Good morning and welcome back to the Hodge Packers. We keep rolling through Embark Land Management, hour number 1. Glad that you're with us. Kids that are graduating, congratulations. Parents that are having a hard time with it, sorry. Hopefully you'll get through tonight as well. But it is time for one of our favorite segments. Let's try that again. There we go. I wonder if Trace is nervous about this bag segment.
Nah.
it literally never gets old.
And the best part is our My Town segment is normally been early, but now that Weldon's coming on, he gets to be a part of it at the next hour as well.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, what do you got?
All right. So just want to plug Mulligan's real quick. Today is their big Mulligan's Bash. There's still time to get your tickets, so get on out to Mulligan's. I don't know the exact start time, but it's.
Oh, is this the one that's replacing the one that we got rained out last year? Is it the same?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
It's
I
Roger
have tickets to
Prager,
that. Good.
yeah, Kevin Fowler, Kurt
Okay,
House. There's a whole,
Yeah, okay,
a
fine.
whole lot of good talent. So y'all get out to Mulligan's. All right, so this comes from mistysbag@yahoo.com. Remember, email me your questions, and I may or may not pick them depending on how good they are. But email me. So Cam C85. I love seeing the emails. Asks, you are recently single and are trying online dating. What is your go-to slogan under your name that is sure to score you a date? I don't know if Cam needs our advice. I'm not really sure, but
I am kind of
are you a girl or
confused.
guy? I'm not sure, but Cam needs to know. I'm thinking I've never had an online dating profile,
No.
but
I
I've seen people that have and read it, and one of my good friends is single, so she'll kind of show me things. And so it's like your name, and then there's like a tagline.
Do you think it's become, I think there's probably a period in time where online dating was frowned upon, like, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. You'd hear people say that. Do you think it's become more acceptable now to try that than it was, say, 5 years ago?
Yeah, and I think for some people, and this is not a dig at anybody, but I think for some it's like, okay, this is the last resort. Like, I don't know that I'm going to meet anybody, so I'm just going to throw my name out there.
I think it allows the net to be thrown out farther than their local area.
Right. I mean, you're only going to meet so many suitors in a town, so.
I'm trying to think of a line to put. I've never had a profile, so I don't even know what I guess it's some.
Josh has never been more glad to be gone.
It's one of those kind of tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm like,
yeah, I think it's like.
Well, just put I'm rich. I have a lot of money.
And then have a bunch of little font letters that says, not as rich as you think I probably am.
Like in the fine print.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again.
I'm rich and good looking.
No, what would be really funny is to have the picture that says, no, this is really me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Well,
I'm
I mean.
a straight running idiot.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm the one your mama warned you about.
Yes. For me, it's got to be funny. Like, if you can hook me with something funny, I'm more likely.
Weldon's going to be so disappointed he gets to answer that dumb. Not dumb question, but difficult question, because it is a difficult question. Because, I mean, in 2 weeks, I'll be married for 15 years. June 14th, Flag Day, and Trump's birthday. We celebrate all together.
Love it.
But, trying to think what. So, Cam, I really wish we could have Cam call in right now.
And are you, I don't know, are you male or female? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's irrelevant. I think that's irrelevant.
Know.
Your line's got to be good, whether you're male or female.
Way, but I just need to know,
I mean, Trace's is pretty good. Hi, I'm rich and good looking.
That is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So what is yours?
I have a few.
Oh, wow. Cam, congratulations. You're about to get a whole Rolodex worth of options.
Well, I mean, I am at an advantage because I get to see these questions, so I get to think about them and kind of, So one, I would probably say, the way to my heart is to feed me tacos and tell me I'm pretty. So that would be one. I think
that's funny
and cute, and if people know.
And you hope they like tacos.
Yes, and they need to know that tacos are the way to my heart right out of the gate. So this one, I'm not sure, but sassy, classy, and sometimes a little trashy. I mean, I don't know. All guys need somebody / want somebody that maybe
they want to date somebody.
Ooh, I thought of mine. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I thought of mine.
Okay.
It just popped into my head.
And then this is a funny one. Looking for someone to hold the door open for me, but slap my butt as I walk through. I thought was a solid choice.
Cam, awesome. Please. All right, first of all, before Trace goes and we kick off Embark Island number 2, 1, Cam, please, I hope you're listening. 2, if you are, please pick one of Misty's, unless you like Trace's next one. And 3, we want you to come on the air, come to the show, and tell us how your dating profile went for selecting one of these.
Yes.
Now, so what is your new one?
It just popped in my head. I'm a Seinfeld fan. I've seen every episode of Seinfeld 1,000 times. It's a line that Jerry says when he talks to a girl at a party. But I think it'd be really fitting for me. You might not could tell it by looking at me, but I could run really, really fast.
That is true.
See, and that would hook me because I would laugh, and I would click on Tracy's profile.
And
Well,
then you would
if
invite,
if you watch Seinfeld, hopefully
Yeah.
you've got that.
or they're real and they're spectacular.
Yeah. But
We are-
like, I need to know what you're putting. I'm like, you don't get to get out
That's
of this.
good, man. That's good.
I have no idea what I'd put. I would, I might just put Hodge Pack. I'll put chicken, jalapeno
If you put
poppers,
Hodge Pack, they may not know what you mean by that.
Yeah,
I
like-
don't know about that.
Hodge Pack, jalapeno poppers, chicken strips, and chips
I
and
can
queso.
cook you mac and cheese and chicken strips.
We will always eat out.
Yeah, there you go.
We are glad that you're with us. Cam, please, we will send an email back to you with these answers. Misty will, Misty's Bag at yahoo.com. Check it out.
Yeah, good luck, pal.
Mrs. Hopefully you'll be a Mrs. something if you're a female, and if you're a Mr., hopefully it all works out for you. But we're going to slap the butt on hour number 1 and head into hour number 2. And we will have, and he's probably disappointed he picked today, Mayor Weldon Hurt will join us, and we will talk, Mayor, what it's been like the last couple weeks, and as he gets ready for the 3rd annual Buffalo Run, which kicks off next week. We'll be back right after this. That was pretty good.
You're welcome.
You say let Weldon use my mic. I'm the guest. You're not a guest. Let Weldon come up here. I'm a guest host.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that was funny.
I'm just glad he's there.
Me too.
When I voted, I took a picture of my voting sticker and texted him and said, I got one vote.
Yep. Yep.
We start talking about the race,
Yeah.
about
Oh.
the challenge.
Have you been a part of it all 3 years?
No,
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it the first year till it started, and that's when we got through it.
I'm going to do this.
Yeah, super cool.
And y'all leave next Thursday?
6 o'clock.
I'm going to go check.
Also, we have to plug. I brought what I was supposed to bring from last week. Do you recall what I was supposed to bring?
Yes.
It is here for you. So we must plug that. And there will be one little question of, do they all fit here? Like, is this all?
We need to plug it, and we need to figure out where to do it.
Yes. It's 2,000 sunflower seeds, because we talked about that last week on the show about if we were in a eating contest, what could we eat? And he was like, I don't know, 2,000 sunflower seeds. And we were like, what? Could you really? And then Josh was like, my tongue would fall off. And so it became this whole funny bit about foods that we would eat or couldn't eat. And then, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm bringing you 2,000 sunflower seeds. And they were like, are you going to count them? I'm like, well, yeah, that's how I'm going to get to 2,000. So they are here.
Here you go.
How has it been since everything's been enrollment?
It has, man. Of course, had the very first council meeting yesterday,
Yeah.
so got past that. It was
Were you nervous?
uneventful. I was, yeah,
A little
yes
bit?
and no, but once you finally just get in there and get into it, having the two new councilmen on, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
See what they bring, and so
That's good.
it's a different look on the council. So,
Yes, yeah. Good.
it's you do your the other night. It's probably like Tuesday evening. We'd gone out, ate a little bit, went back to the house. Maybe go to bed. I'm just kind of sitting there in the kitchen and kind of like boom. I'm here.
Yeah. How did I get here? I love it.
You've been mayor since what? May? Not. I mean, I know May 6th was the election, but sworn in on what day?
Tuesday week.
So you've been on.
15th, right? 15th or 16th, I believe. This one was sworn in. 10 days. Yeah. 16th.
My town next. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. You hear My Town, you know it's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment. This is when we highlight a local player, coach, or program. And today we're highlighting a coach, if you will, of the city, and also a program that he's a part of that you've heard on here a number of times. But again, joining us in studio, Mayor of Abilene. He said it a while ago. It kind of hit him not long ago. Weldon Hurt. Weldon, bringing the Pest Patrol phone line to life here. We'll be using it a little bit later, but appreciate you being here this
Oh,
morning.
man, it's an honor to be here. It's always, I love y'all's show anyway. I listen to it 99% of the time, but yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, we appreciate it. Now, you have the right to use your veto as mayor to answer Misty's question. You were here earlier for that. Cam, again, it's your responsibility. You've already achieved one homework assignment from last week. You've got a new one for this week, even though you're on vacation, to email Cam to find out how we can help.
I will. I feel like it's like hints from Eloise. Like, this is not what the show's about, but okay, I'm here to help you with your dating life.
Yes. So she asked what dating profile line. Do you have one, Weldon?
I do. I've thought about that, and it's I have a JOB.
Yes.
And deep down, most people are looking to make sure they don't have to be the only JOB in the house. So that actually works. That'd be
Big
pretty.
deal nowadays.
Yeah. Trust me, I went and got breakfast this morning, and the poor person working needed other people that wanted to be there for JOBs because she was very short-handed. But good. Weldon didn't have to think anything too bad for a line, and he has it. And you have a JOB. Now you have multiple JOBs.
Yes, I do.
With not only Pest Patrol has been open over 30 years, 31 years, I believe.
31.
Of course, taking care of folks with the yellow trucks coming by. You know, bugs are heading out. 673-6700. You can call or text to get that taken care of. But talk about, you've been mayor for
10 days.
10 days.
I swore in on the 16th. You know, it seemed like it was years of campaigning. That we kind of started back in January. Then our team got together in February to get a little game plan going. So it just time really drug before that election for me. But no, I'm thrilled and honored. The outcome, we were very pleased with the outcome. We have 2 new councilmen, looking forward, to these new faces on the council. And Abilene's a great place to live. I do this because I love Abilene, but we can always do better. And, that's what we're looking forward to, a continuation of our good things. We always want to, strive to do positive things, build off those, and just keep getting better.
Well, and a couple things. It is a sports show, but you see in the sports world, eventually Nick Saban's going to retire, and somebody's going to have to take that job. Anthony, who's been in Abilene politics for a number of years, from councilman to mayor, but that person that goes to Alabama is going to have to continue the success, but make it their own. And kind of how do you see you doing that, following, not only following Anthony, but now that you are the mayor?
Right. Of course, Anthony was municipal government for 22 years and the mayor for 2 terms of 6 years. And like I say, a continuation of things that were his guidelines, but really want to look back into the core of our city. You're going to hear me talk about infill development, things like that a lot. We want to get some single-family homes into some of these older neighborhoods and kind of revitalize them, work on the blight, work on the problem areas. Of course, we're always going to work on crime, make sure our police force is funded. But really just want some dignity back in some of these older neighborhoods that people really want to live there. So provide housing that's affordable.
And I would love that too, because since I'm a mortgage loan officer, I can help you. So hit me up.
Well, that's right. It's going to be a team effort. It's going to be co-compliance by the city. It's going to be from our lenders to help on this process and to educate people. A lot of these people probably have never been homeowners, and that's what we're trying to do, is get more people into home ownership. We're going to have some incentives. So really, we're going to be looking. I understand that some of these may be rental properties, but our goal really is to get people into home ownership.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Take us through. So you talked about you had your first council meeting and some new faces. Take us through the night before. Were there nerves? Did you sleep? Kind of what was that like? Just
Going
like
back to Hoosiers, he says, "Welcome to Indiana basketball," and you could tell he was nervous.
yeah, it's like you said, you're like, whoa, I'm the mayor of Abilene. Like, this is kind of crazy.
Well, it's just preparing. We get a packet each week before the council meetings. They're generally about 300 or 400 pages. This one was closer to 700 pages of just really, really good reading. But it's just preparing, having your everything ready. I will say this, that Shauna Atkinson, our city secretary, is really good about helping prepare my notes for the meeting. She's a jewel. She's absolutely outstanding, and so she makes my life easier on that when we do that. So she has the script, everything ready. So really, if you just kind of go by the script, but it helps to know what's going to happen, what's going to be a big topic item, if there's a big topic item, and prepare for that. So
what is, and let's just say, hopefully not, but if you only serve one term, what is the one thing that you want to be remembered for as the mayor of Abilene?
I want at least 300 new rooftops in some of our older areas.
It is. And again, what's good about, and I guess the other thing is what from the city council, as a councilman moving over to that seat, I always joke that JV coach, a buddy of mine, shout out Nathan Riggin, he's been a JV coach and now he's the head basketball coach at Winters, girls coach, making that move from the 5 o'clock game to the 8 o'clock game. What things from the councilman part to the mayor do you think will be great tools and experience for being mayor?
Well, just experience, number one. But a coach allows his players to do things. So I think not only do you coach them, but these new councilmen and existing councilmen, is you allow them to strive and let them have a voice and let them be part of this process. So, Brian Yates is a retired colonel, and we've never had anyone on council with that much military experience. What he brings. Blaze Reagan is an attorney. So, and they don't just give those degrees away. He's a smart guy. And so, just those two new people in with the existing councilman that we have, it's just an exciting time. So what you want to do is set tone, set pace, basically, but let them grow and utilize what you can get from them.
Right. And we're a few weeks away probably from Downtown Hotel opening and rolling.
Yeah, I believe June 28th is kind of a target date right now.
Well, we can see it. Well, I can't. I've got a computer screen, but just to the right of us. And so that's exciting, and downtown and all those things. And speaking of downtown, there's going to be something exciting downtown Buffalo Gap next Saturday for a street dance, return, all the things. But next week is the 3rd annual Nail Ranch Buffalo Run kicking off next week, and you and the Pitter Patter folk are getting ready. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's, we're really excited. Of course, we made the run last year, and the poor little Pitter Patter bus has been in the hospital nearly the whole year, but we finally got it done. I got to send a big shout out to Danny Hogue at Danny's Auto Group. He helped us out a lot. We had a little electrical problem that without his help and just being stubborn the way Danny is, he got it fixed and going for us. He's going to actually be in the run this year. So, just getting everything ready, the bus run, we're trying to get our sponsorships lined out. It was kind of hard to work on sponsorships while we were running for mayor and not knowing if the bus was going to run. So, but now we're ready to go.
Yeah, when do you sleep? That's the other question.
So the Buffalo, again, the Nail Ranch Buffalo Run, kicking off next week, benefiting Camp Able. Those that are very familiar with the Texas Two-Step, Cody Cox, kind of has been ramrodding this, and it's so. Tell the folks where you are going. Last year you went to the Four Corners, right?
With Four Corners, New Mexico. This year the destination is actually Abilene, Kansas, but it's not a straight shot. We've got to go as far east as Fort Worth. We got to go as far northwest as Turkey, Texas, and of course Dodge City, which is on the very west side of Kansas. So it's a pretty big loop. If it was just a straight shot up, and several stops in between the challenges. Of course, there's always going to be the roadkill where you have to have a funeral for roadkill. That's just kind of a staple. There's some fun ones. We're looking for Chisholm Trail markers, having pictures made. And then in Chickasha, Oklahoma, I didn't know this, but if you remember the Christmas story, the leg lamp, they have a large statue of the leg lamp there that we have to get a picture made by. So that's just another one of the challenges we have to do.
Well, a couple others, and Cody talked about this. Of course, you're basically going on the Chisholm Trail, correct? That's what this is the Chisholm Trail. They've got a stop in Fort Worth. A great song that George Strait and Sleep of the Wheel sing, Big Balls in Cowtown. You got to find a beach ball and play, like hit the beach ball with random strangers.
Yes.
A couple of others. Of course, you mentioned the leg lamp. Your team must roll in Decatur, Texas. Your team must roll a Heart 8 on the steps of the courthouse, and it must be filmed. And so all these different challenges there and back, and raising a lot of money for a great cause in Camp Able. And who all is on your team that's the pit crew?
Dwayne Sloan, he's Pythagoras Paint, and Cameron Wiley, kind of a national local hero. We all know Cameron Wiley. So
Does he? Well, if he can fit in a B1, he can fit in the pitter patter.
I really had wondered about that first, because it's hard for me to get into that driver's seat, but he curls up and gets in it. And he takes his turn driving. We have a good system. We have one person driving, one person navigating, one person resting, and we just continue in that rotation. You drive till you're tired, and the next person gets in.
And so the send-off is June 1st at 6, correct? June
That's
1st. And then the street dance is going to be with bands starting at 4:30 downtown Buffalo Gap. Shane, oh goodness gracious, Del Rose is going to be playing. Shane Terrell and the Stumblers are going to be playing as well. Greg Austin and Hodge will be out there kind of emceeing the event. And they're going to you'll have to pick something up and auction it off.
We have to find something on the way.
I'm excited about that.
And then
see what they come up with.
And then we also, right before we leave, we take an envelope and we have to do a karaoke type reenactment of this song with our group, and that has to be filled. So looking forward to that.
So again, the third annual Nail Ranch, the Buffalo Run, kicks off next week. The send-off, and Cody was talking about it with Greg last week, the send-off has almost become as exciting as when everybody comes home. Of course, everybody's probably dead tired coming home, but great event, really cannonball run style. And
Right.
I know there's limousines. I know there's basically the Lampoon-looking National Lampoon's station wagon, buses. There's just all sorts of cars heading out next week.
Right. Well, the send-off it is, because that's the only time you really have all the cars together at one time, because, unfortunately, the Pitter Patter bus is probably not going to be the first one returning back to Buffalo Gap on Friday. We generally roll in on Saturday. So
well, and it's very similar to, unfortunately, to Michael Block. There's some cars that don't make the cut and don't make it to the weekend.
Well, one of them never made it to the city limits of Abilene last year. And then
Bless it.
we started, and they said, "Y'all have a good run. We're going to Perini's."
Hey, not a bad place to end to start or end your race is at Perini's.
Yeah.
So, but then we appreciate you. I appreciate you what you're doing for not only the city of Abilene as mayor, what you're doing as being part of raising money for Camp Able, but you guys have been with us on the Hodge Pack from day one, and we appreciate everything that y'all do for us, and know that the Hodge Pack supports definitely not only Mayor Hurt, but your whole family and the sacrifices it took for them and what you're doing as well.
Well, thank you very much, and always an honor to be here. It's a local show. Let's keep it local, and that's what I love about this. So thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to continue. Got your number. Who owns number 14? He had a little bit of problem with the old gambling, but was still one of the best hitters of all time. We'll be back right after this.
Good.
You got any stickers put on the bus? Are there any stickers today?
No, but I bet we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get some by next Thursday.
Yeah. Well, we gonna get
Good
some
seeing
at some
Fred.
point. Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thank you so
Very
much.
proud of you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, so here's the
One
kind
of
the
these
look.
years, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I think that would be a
How many
blast.
cars
don't
are
you?
doing it? Or teams?
49 is what I've heard. I know that Blaze Reagan and Landon Couches, they got a cracked head, so they're not going to. They were going to do it.
Okay, we're going to take a picture.
Here, I'll take it. Here's the mayor. Hey, y'all remember when you see yellow, think that's the color. Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I'll get that posted.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
appreciate it, man.
You bet.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for our
Hey,
call.
y'all have a great week.
All right, you too.
I'll see y'all soon.
Okay, bye, well then.
Thanks for the hat.
Yes, thank you.
Stickers if you got them.
Okay, yes.
I was talking to Kelly J the other day. He said, you know, 'cause he's about to be the president of the champion.
Oh, yeah.
Up to 207.
Yeah, I can't remember how many Josh has.
Here's my favorite. My 3-foot dirt.
Oh, that's
3
awesome.
foot tall.
That is so cool.
Keeping one of the plastic. He's 3 feet tall.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between as we're rocking and rolling in hour number 2, Embark Land. Hour number 2. Appreciate Embark Land Management. Fantastic. Daniel McDuff, they do a great job. You got stuff that needs to be cleared out, especially maybe with all this rain and all the stuff that's going on. Give them a shout. They'll definitely get you taken care of. Embark Land Management. Give them a call at 668-7071, and Embark Land Management will get you cleared out and ready to roll. A couple things. Want to remind you, don't forget to head over to PotosiLive.com as we're hanging out in the Potosi Live studio. They've got a ton of events coming up. Go check them out. Unfortunately, Clint Black is going to have back surgery, and so they had to cancel Clint Black. But be on the lookout. Chris and Moy and Stephanie and Donovan always got things rolling and coming up. So be sure to be following them on Facebook and all their social media platforms and they'll get you a lot of fun, great experience out there. A lot of shows coming up. I keep joking about being excited about Confederate Railroad because you mentioned trashy earlier as one of your fancy lines. But
well, you're the one that told me that day on the show that I was, a little trashy.
Maybe
so.
I inspired you. Maybe I
did.
inspired you.
Wow.
I didn't call her trashy. It just came out.
Step out while the mayor's here. Come back in. Look what's going on.
It's crazy. Again, Hodge, Misty, and Trace in for Josh, as Josh again is a Big 12 tournament with his family, and so.
Thanks for asking.
Oh, we're again haven't. You were talking about legends a while ago. That is definitely you, and again, so it's great stuff. And so we've been going through this book, and again, I know Trace, and feel free to we'll talk a little bit about tracer cards and what baseball cards have done, but we've been plugging this Mike Greenberg book. Got your number for the last few weeks. Again, a lot of that is because we were fortunate enough to have, you want to talk about a legend, Mike Greenberg of Mike and Mike, and now on Get Up and Greeny and all that, ESPN legend to join us. And he's gone through this who owns each number. And today we picked 14. Your son's graduating, and I said, "What number's Ethan?" And you said 14, and so I thought we'd run with 14. And the guy that owns it. Now you start thinking about people that wear 14. There's just I can't think a whole lot that do.
Diggs, Stephon Diggs.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs. Yeah, he's the Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah. With Abilene's Case Keenum. So
right.
That's why he's talking
Yep.
But the guy that owns it, according to Mike Greenberg, is a guy that or you're on the fence of. We talked about Hall of Fame voters earlier, people that are on the fence of, and one of those is this guy, Charlie Hustle. I think a record that we've talked about, like last week with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice's record's not going to be broken. Emmitt Smith's record's not going to be broken. And this guy's most hits of all time, I don't think will ever get touched. And that is Pete Rose. Pete Rose was part of the Big Red Machine, known for hustling, known for, heck, he has a slide named after him. Pete Rose sliding his head first and diving in. And again, great opportunity for you on the tracer stuff, talking about Pete Rose, who still travels and does all these things, but Pete Rose is still one of the best baseball players of all time. And unfortunately, his career got tainted. He didn't have a movie called Field of Dreams. He had a movie called Nothing.
Yeah, well, and the taint comes from what he did as a manager, betting on the game, which is obviously a no-no. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Same.
I think he'll get in posthumously. I think once he passes, they're going to end up putting him in someday. They're not going to let him live this in, which I think is just kind of hogwash.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
But does he own 14 more? Yeah. There's when you text me about coming on this week, and then when you set the little schedule, I was like, well, that's kind of. Who else can we talk about? Oscar Robertson.
Right.
Yeah, there's just really not a lot. Misty Collier.
No.
Who also wore number 14, by the way.
17.
Oh, really?
That's why my son is number 14.
Oh, okay.
Cool. That's cool.
So that's my
Yeah, well,
number
you're number 2 next to Pete Rose.
Yes.
But 17-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champ. Good grief.
Well, and you think
think about it. 17 times All-Star. That's
well, and it's not like the NBA. You see these people that are on repeat of All-Star games and all that in the NBA, but the baseball All-Star game is still like the only one where the game is actually played normal. It's like they don't say, the pitcher doesn't say, you know what? Normal-ish. But they're not going to say, you know what? I'm going to throw a pitch. Here's what I'm throwing so you can hit it.
Yeah.
There's still some pride on the back on the mound that I want to get you out, that I want to, strike you. I don't want you to, get the best of me, if you will. In the NBA, there's not a whole lot of defense being played. The only thing that you don't want is to get dunked on.
Right.
That's about the only thing is you don't want to get posterized by anybody in the All-Star game. And of course, the NFL Pro Bowl, they switched it up a little bit this year and went with a flag football game, but it's still, it's not what they're
Just
doing.
get rid of the whole thing. Have you ever been to ranker.com?
I have not.
Ranker.com is a great site. You can find just about anything on there, and you can participate.
Nice.
Like you can vote. So I immediately went to Rankers, something I used to use a lot when I had my show for these kind of things.
Mhm.
And so you can see what other people are thinking. Pete Rose is actually number 3 on Ranker.com.
Wow.
Of
behind
what?
who?
Of the best athletes to ever wear number 14. So there's a ranker for just about every number.
So who do they have it?
They
1
have
and 2.
Oscar Robertson number 1. And again, this is a vote. This is not some, what was that website earlier? It's
The
not
one we, some
moron
company that we
sitting
don't.
behind a desk somewhere.
Be something.
These are actually voted on by people that go to the website. And so he's number 1, and then a soccer player is number 2. And I'm not into soccer, so I don't know anything about him. He's been retired for over 10 years. Thierry Henry, number
Never heard of
2. I don't know. English Football Hall of Famer, 5-time MLS All-Star, but he's actually number 2. And Pete Rose is number 3.
I just feel like
Just throwing that out
No,
there. I mean,
no, but it's
because when you said 14, I was like, there's really nothing to talk about. There's no debate.
right.
What are we?
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's,
apparently, according to Ranker, we do.
I mean, Oscar Robertson, I think, to me, would be number
He's a
2.
contender, for
Pete
sure.
Rose, I mean, gosh, the guy.
Nobody played with this passion. That's what I really liked about Pete. Just the passion and the love for the game is really just unmatched. So it's so unfortunate what happened, because had that not happened, I mean,
well, he'd have been, and that's what stinks. And you mentioned that he might eventually get in after he passes away, and I think that's one of the biggest disservices that any of the Hall of Fames do is when they elect somebody after they pass away. Now, Junior Seau unfortunately made a bad decision, or unfortunately had a tough decision made, so he passed away earlier than he might normally have. But when these older guys that have passed away and they get in, I'm like, they were a Hall of Famer at 80, but we don't think he was a Hall of Famer at 65.
Yeah.
And so
Hall of Fame stuff is just tough all around, isn't it? I mean, I've always had a little bit of a problem with Hall of Fame because they're so statistically driven, but it's not called the Hall of Stats. It's called the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
And
Right.
so certain things can make somebody famous. I mean, it's a museum for Pete's sake. So when you go, don't you want to see certain things? Now, so what they do is, so they'll get Adolis Garcia's helmet from the night that he hits 3 home runs and has 8 ribbies. They'll get his helmet and put it in there for the museum side. But when it comes to the player side, unless you had certain stats, you don't get in. And so that's always kind of bothered me.
but do
about
you
the Hall of
think
Fame.
the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, for not having guys like Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, not having those guys in, of the greatest, some of the greatest players of all time, careers, does it diminish the Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball?
Yeah, here's what I think they should do, because not everybody during that time period, the hypocrisy about that time period sometimes drives me a little bit insane, because there was nobody celebrating those guys more than Major League Baseball. And do you think that they knew that Mark McGwire all of a sudden, looked like the Incredible Hulk and is smashing?
Yeah,
But you got guys that never hit over 20 home runs, hitting 50 home runs, and they're all bulked up and meatheads and look completely different. I mean, look at Barry Bonds when he played for the Pirates. You think Major League Baseball knew they were doing that? So of course they did. And they're coming off that strike that they dealt with, Major League Baseball popularity all-time low. All of a sudden, you have the McGwire Sosa thing. Everybody's excited about baseball. Yay, baseball! Yay, home runs! And then after it's all done, oh gosh, no, we can't recognize those guys.
Right.
I mean, it's a joke to me.
Well, you're exactly right. In 1998, they've been about 4 years off of a strike.
Yeah.
And 4 years after that have this massive, oh my goodness, Michael Block party type, if you will. Everybody wanted to watch Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in 1998. Were they hitting? Were they going to go to a home run? They were breaking away from normal telecasts to watch those guys. Very similar to what they did to Aaron Judge this year.
Yeah, I bet you remember where you were.
I was in a Hardin Simmons dorm
when Mark McGwire broke
Maris's
record.
when he hit 62. Now I don't remember where he hit his last one or his 70th or whatever,
No,
But
but
I-
you remember that one.
I remember
I did
62.
too. I was in my bedroom. I was folding line. I'll never forget it. You know, and so then to turn their back on, you know, all this stuff that was happening, because they knew it was going on. I mean, come on. You know, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, we got to basically ban these guys and throw all their records out. I mean, that to me is, I mean, it'd be one thing if they didn't know that these guys were quote unquote cheating, but they knew it and they were doing nothing about it because it was benefiting the sport. And then once it all came out, and we can't have these guys representing
Well,
us.
but you talk about Rangers. Rafael Palmeiro should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, sure.
And so I just think,
And some guys got passes. You know me, I'm the biggest Pudge guy in the world.
right,
But when people ask me as a collector, and when they find out that I collect Pudge, inevitably I always get the question because Pudge was somebody that Canseco named in the book, and they'll ask me, "Why did Pudge get a pass? How come Pudge got a pass?" And Palmeiro didn't. How come Pudge did? And you take a look at some of the guys that got a pass, because some of them did. I mean, David Ortiz, Big Puppy got a pass.
right. I think a lot of it, and I don't know if it mattered, but the worst thing that happened was for McGuire and Palmeiro to go to those Congress hearings.
Yeah, sure.
If Palmeiro's not known for finger pointing, and if Mark McGuire is not known, I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk about the future. If he doesn't say that on repeat like a hotkey, I don't know if it matters. But I guess it probably does because we see Barry Bonds still not in the Hall of Fame, who 100% should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, anybody that is associated, and you know what's interesting, are those that got a pass seem to be nicer guys. Bonds, big jerk. McGuire supposedly, you know, he kind of be a jerk. Roger Clemens, you think about some of these guys that didn't get a pass at all, or some of the least likable personalities. You know, I don't know if that factors into it at all, but it is an interesting coincidence.
Well, but then you add those guys that, Ortiz is on networks, and to me,
big personality.
so
Everybody loves big personality.
so the question is A-Rod going to get it?
No,
Yeah,
jerk, another jerk.
yeah,
I
he
mean,
is a jerk.
if you're a steroid guy and you're a jerk, it seems
Those
to
are
be
the
worse.
two things that are going to keep you out.
It seems to be worse. I just, to me, you have an era. I don't know how if you build a little extra wing, the steroid era wing. I don't know what. And I'm glad I'm not in their position because I don't know what I would do. I mean, I can sit here
Yeah,
and
can we
say
give them an honorable
anything I
mention
want.
wing? Can we
Yeah.
do
Oh, I'll tell you
something?
exactly what I do.
Like-
I'd say, you know what? You were the best in your era. You were the best. And here's the thing, and I go back to this. It was frowned upon. It wasn't tested. It was frowned upon. It wasn't necessarily illegal, from my understanding, because there was a ton of people that I guarantee it that are in the Hall of Fame that were taking something.
Sure.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
not a doubt in my mind.
Forever. No, I mean, Major League Baseball has juiced the ball before.
Yeah.
We need more offense. Let's juice the ball. I mean, what are they going to do now with, some of the rule changes? I mean, it's impossible. That's why I'm not a big fan of the whole LeBron versus MJ type of conversations. Different generations are different generations. So you have the live ball era. You have the steroid era. You have now we're going to have the pitch clock era. What are we going to do? Before stolen bases were a thing, and now they went away, and now they're back because of the pitch clock and the limited number of throwovers that they've changed the rules. So they've changed the rules to benefit the offense. It's like the NFL. They've changed the rules to benefit the offense so many times that now the forward pass is the primary means of advancing the ball down the field. Where before, Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, those guys set records that will never be broken. Why? Because nobody runs a football. Because that's not how you advance the ball down the field.
Yes, and we've
It's just
talked
a
about
different-
that.
it's a different era.
a different time.
So, the steroid era is a part of baseball history. And so to just say, to pretend like it didn't exist, to me is just the height of hypocrisy.
Right. So, in all that, Pete Rose, buddy, you own number 14.
Yes, it does.
And hopefully one day you'll
Got off
have,
track.
hopefully you will have a bust. Well, I don't know if
Ernie
it's a
Banks
bust.
also wore 14 bucks.
Again, fantastic guy and in the Hall of Fame, but Pete Rose is not. When we come back, we'll keep rolling along this Friday Hodge Pack. Right after this.
So dumb. So dumb what MLB did to those guys. Nothing.
Well, and yeah, I think it's in after he passes. I don't know. I just think that's so crappy.
Well, you look out.
Like, just put me in when I'm alive, or don't put me in at all.
I mean, there are signs in every clubhouse. Do not bet or you're banned. I mean, it's all there. But he never bet against the team. That's another thing.
Uh-huh.
It's not like he was fixing games.
Right.
I mean, he's betting for his team to win. And if Pete Rose was a nice guy, if Pete Rose would have came out at the very beginning and then he's a jerk.
Yeah, like
I don't know
remorse.
if you've ever met him.
Yeah, no.
He's a jerk. And,
Never.
I never, all the time, I never bet on baseball.
Yeah.
He just
Come out and just own
yeah,
it.
you know what? I did.
I screwed up. I'm human.
I always bet on us to win, though.
Yeah.
There was never a game fix.
Agreed.
10 years later, with the whole, I'm Pete Rose, you can't do this on me.
Yeah. Then they're like, okay, hold my beer.
That was a bigger mistake than the betting. Yeah, y'all got a big old gigantic Bill of the Rock. Is that really how big he is?
I don't know. I bet he's bigger now.
I don't think he's that tall, is he?
I don't know.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Oh, same here. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna wear my Hodge Pack here. Pride. Where did you have these done?
Reed Hughes. He has his Texadized hat company.
Pretty good price.
Yeah.
I just had 6 done online. There's a company running a trucker hat special with a leather patch on the front. 6 for $99. So I just bought 6. We are doing a really cool raffle right now to benefit our local girl. When you have a chance, we could mention that, if you don't mind.
Yep.
We got a lot of great items that we're using to raise money for this girl. Put some sunflower seeds.
A few. This is from our last week. I think my chair, it's deflating. There we go. I'm super low. Now I'm super high.
We had a chair like that back then.
Okay, what is happening?
It's all the way at the top now.
Yeah, well,
You're gonna have to sit in.
and it'll slowly put me.
Those chairs over time. We had one when I was doing the morning show on 103. My partner, one day we're sitting there, and he's on the other side of the counter like this, and all of a sudden I see him, we're live on air, and he just starts. Next thing he disappears. Goes all the way down to the ground.
In a minute. It's just gonna disappear. I'm like, come on.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we keep rolling right along. Our number 2, getting ready to head into the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for those that made the ultimate sacrifice for us. And it's not just a time to barbecue, but to really remember. You see all the flags around town. And so we appreciate all those that fought for our country and those that continue to do today. We appreciate it. We're so fortunate to have Dice Air Force Base right here. And so appreciate them and all that they do. So we're trucking along. And again, Hodge, Misty, and Trace is here. Rolling right along our number 2. We've got a phone call. Welcome to the Hodge Pack. Who do we have on the Pest Patrol phone line? Ethan. Is this the Ethan that wore number 14? Awesome.
Oh my God.
Joining us on the Pest Patrol phone line, Ethan. Ethan at ward number 14.
My eyes are literally watering.
That has the big day today. Ethan, how is your morning going with graduation approaching?
Chapter, but I'm just glad I'm going into it with, a great mom with all this support.
Well, we love your mom, and I know she's going to hate me for doing this because she's going to be.
I know. I'm like, tears.
But no, Ethan. So you're graduating tomorrow as a chief from Lakeview, and so talk about. I saw the quilt. We got to see the quilt made, and we picked number.
That was something else, man. It's like the last thing I expected. I never expected anything like that sentimental to graduation day or anything like that. Mainly that you're like, 20 bucks or whatever. But like this, it was like I like in my blanket. I have like literally my childhood in a sense from start to finish. Like starting on my first little league team, ending at like my last football jersey. So it's a really, really cool thing to see, and it's just like looking at it in the grand aspect of things, it just shows like how fast time goes by.
So number 14, we picked out because you wore it, and apparently your mom did too, and maybe made it famous at Robert Lee. We haven't found any stats on Ranker.com yet.
No one's voted.
But
for
you
me.
can find them on Culture.
Yeah, you can probably. Oh, great job, Trace. You gave them another shout out.
Hey, bad publicity is still good.
But that was one of those. It
publicity.
was worth it for the laugh.
Yeah. So Ethan, talk a little bit about what's next. What's next with graduation happening tomorrow? What is post graduation for Ethan?
Post graduation for me, I'm gonna be attending Angelo State University. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be graduating from there or not, but with me doing like the boot camp program and everything like that.
We got breaking news, Ethan.
You will be graduating.
Majoring in either like business or marketing, and just gonna try to learn more about business and how to market myself so that I can be set for any sort of business related job that I might want or need in the future.
Awesome.
He has the same thing. I went into college, same thing. I don't know if I'm going to graduate from that. That's where I'm going.
All right. So,
I love it.
Misty, your thoughts? We got Ethan on our Pest Patrol phone line.
You're just, hey. I'm like, yeah, as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, ooh, like, felt that hit my stomach. But I don't even know what to say. For once, I'm a little speechless. I'm just, we talked about Ethan last week. I'm just so proud of him. And, growing up, we're both big sports fans, and it's been fun to watch Ethan achieve, his goals in sports and school and just all the things he's done. It's just been such a joy. And that's what I told him. If you watch the video when I gave him the t-shirt quilt, I mean, from 4 years old as a soccer player, that jersey's on that quilt. And I've been keeping all of those for the last 13 years. And so it was really special. And so, of course, I cry in the video. And, Ethan and I had him at 20. I was young, and we've grown up together. He really was my best friend and still is in a sense. But I'm just proud. I'm very proud. I'm excited about tomorrow and just what his future looks like.
Well, Ethan, we did this on purpose. That's why you had to have the headphones on.
All of this is making so much sense.
So, but Ethan, we appreciate you taking the time this morning to be on the Hodge Pack, and look forward to hearing all the success you have post-graduation from high school and being a Ram. And we appreciate you taking the time this morning, and have a great graduation tomorrow. And I'm sure you and your mom will be crying, and that'll be okay.
Hey, Ethan, it's Trace. I've never met you, but do me a favor. Go ahead and graduate. That'd be great.
Yeah, please graduate.
I thought I told that.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead and graduate. Again, that's Ethan, the famous Ethan that wears number 14. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show, and Misty's got one homework assignment finished. We'll be back right after this. Ethan, appreciate you, man.
Oh my gosh, you don't got me.
Construction and paper shredding.
Not y'all.
Our services include routine pickup,
Hello?
purges, early
Can you hear me?
drop-offs, and our state-of-the-art safe
Love you
and
too,
secure
honey. Thanks
facility.
for waking up
Our
early on your day
are
off.
better known as the DR shredders are here
That
to
was
assist
awesome. I love you.
serve
See you
in
tomorrow.
the destruction of your most private
Bye.
documents, or just those annoying stacks of boxes you've had piled up over the years.
I'm like,
Give us a call.
man, I'm trying to hold that together. I was like, oh.
I'm ready to be balling. I'm pretty proud of you.
I know.
I would be.
Woo!
You
That
told
was-
me when I got here, you told me you were doing shit. You were just going to do that. I'm like, uh-oh.
That's so cool. Yeah, because he does wear number 14. So, which was really sweet whenever, because we're a blended family. And when he's lived with me for 16 years, and he decided he wanted to live with his dad for the junior and senior. So he grew up going to Wiley's and moved to San Angelo. And that was obviously difficult. And he picked number 14. That was his football number. And I was like, ooh, and he was like, I think it's number 14 because that's your number. And I was like, okay, now you're really making me cry.
I
But
spent a lot of time on that San Angelo Lakeview field, or the one they used to.
yes, yeah.
When I was coaching the Bandits arena team, that's where we practiced.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
My first Wiley game was at that stadium.
really.
First
Yeah.
time forever.
Well, and we used to live in San Angelo, my husband and I, Roger and I, but Ethan's dad are from that area, and so, luckily it's not too far, and we made it work, but yeah. Yeah, it is, it's not bad. But that was really
They don't play at that stadium anymore, do they? The one by the Coliseum?
No, they did a couple of scrimmages and stuff there, but they go to Central. Yeah, to that big, Central Stadium, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, we played in that arena, obviously. We practiced mostly. There's always stuff happening, so we practiced on that field mostly.
Head out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
Don't forget, I need about 30 seconds to mention that raffle.
No, so what we'll do, we'll go to wrap up. We'll talk about that. You got the wrong kind, but we'll take that off.
Well, I couldn't find the other ones where I went, so.
Ryan, you and me should do this one of these years.
Yes.
We've said
That would be fun.
I'm Sharon Roberts. Here in Abilene, folks have lots of options for eating out. Large chains, locally owned non-profit.
Sharon still makes good steak.
I want you to know we really appreciate your business and are always striving for wonderful service and prices. So we listen to you and
They get in restaurant business.
bringing back all your favorite mocktails and fajitas, and that's going to be lots of place for a lot of appetizers. So come see us. I want to hear you say, yum, yum.
At First Bank and Trust, our story started in 1996 and it continues because of you, our customers, our communities, and our neighbors. We are proud to be a small part of your success. But where does your story start? Where do you want to go? Whether starting a business, saving for the future, or launching your ideas to the next level,
Yeah,
we want to help you
that got
take
me
the
right.
first steps towards
Like,
something big. Call or email one of our
That was pretty
bankers
cool.
at First Bank and Trust.
I'm surprised he's up before 9 o'clock on his day before graduation.
Yeah, there's prep. There's a little bit of prep.
Yeah.
You have to see. It's amazing.
Y'all did a good job. Yeah. No, that was really cool. Good kid. Thank you. Still be competing in college, we'll see what's about to take place. Good decision.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. We're glad that you're with us this morning as we wrap up our last show of May. It's crazy that June will be here next week. A lot of folks graduating. Obviously, Ethan joining us on our Pest Patrol phone line, having a moment there with Mom before graduation. and breaking news that he's not going to graduate from there. But we'll start at Ethan Ticker to make sure that happens. So real quick, now Trace again in with us this morning with Josh gone. It's been great having you here. A lot of great fun talk. So talk a little bit about not only Tracer. Again, I talked to a buddy of mine that we played golf with that went to the breakout that you had a few weeks ago. Said it was a great time, and talk a little bit about something else you got going on.
Yeah, so right now, Tracer Cards. So there was a girl at that parent-child break. Her name is Sydney. She volunteers for an organization that mows yards, and they do it at either no cost or low cost for people that need lawn service that can't afford it. And she's mowed. There's no telling how many lawns this girl has mowed. But one of the problems is that every time she goes to mow, she's got to load everything up in her parents' vehicle, all this. And so she has started a GoFundMe to get a trailer. So she can put everything on the trailer and leave it on the trailer. And on her GoFundMe, she talks about, she's tired of putting her parents out and all the extra work that they have to do just for her to go do this. So I decided that we should try to do something to help her GoFundMe page. So I started making some phone calls and got some items for us to have a raffle. So we're only going to do 20 people. That's it. 20 raffle tickets going to be sold. $50 a ticket. So it's a little bit pricey, but we'll see why here in a second. And then we have 5 items. So 25% of the people are going to win something. A lot of times you do a raffle and one thing.
Right.
So 25% of the people will win something. And if you end up the number 1 spot, then we're going to have a draft, basically. So the number 1 spot, you get to pick out of the 5 items that you have. So it's not assigned.
Super cool.
So if you're number 1 after we randomize the draft order, and you end up number 1, then you get to pick. So here's what we got: Adrian Beltre autographed jersey, a Vince Young University of Texas burnt orange autographed stat jersey. So it's got all the stats below the numbers, autographed by Vince Young. Pretty sick. I don't like Texas. I'm a Texas Tech guy, but it is a sick jersey. Also, a Corey Seager All-Star Game logo autographed baseball from last year's All-Star Game. We have a Marcus Simeon 2022 Topps Gold Label on-card auto baseball card, and then a 2021 Topps Stadium Club Chrome Jonah Heim autographed rookie card. So those are the 5 items. Pretty big deal.
So how can they get a card or raffle?
So Tracer Cards is the Facebook page. All they got to do is just go to the page, shoot me a message. There's a post on there. You can comment on the post, and I can message you, or you can just message me there. You can email me, tracercards@gmail.com, $50, and we're going to put some money into her GoFundMe and help her get that thing.
That'd be pretty cool.
So that's it.
And you like the entrepreneur side of the girl too.
I do. I absolutely love it. And I've known her for some years. I know her dad, and she has come and done my yard. As a matter of fact, I moved into a new house and the yard needed mowed. So I buzzed him. I said, "Hey, I know you're doing this." And when she told me how much it was, I was like, "Man, are you kidding me?"
Right.
So she's doing some amazing things for this organization. She's won some awards. It's just like, you know what? We're such a great community. Let's help her out. Let's help her get her trailer to make her life a little bit easier. She's just a teammate.
Right.
So I think it'd be a lot of fun to put some money in that GoFundMe, and so that's what we came up with. So Beltray jersey, Young jersey, Cedar Ball, Simeon card, Jonah Heim card. So some really great stuff. $50. I mean, you can't buy any of those items for $50.
No, not at all.
And if you don't win, you help a great cause. And if you get one of the top 5 spots, the worst you could do is one of those 5, and the best you can do is get your pick.
Right.
That's awesome.
All right, Misty. So you had a homework assignment. Next week's homework assignment, you can try to do it while you're on vacation as well, is to connect with Cam to figure out if the dating advice was beneficial or the liners. So last week we talked about 2,000 sunflower seeds. You've got sunflower seeds. Now it's not. I'm gonna go ahead and let you talk. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
She had to choose 2,000?
No. Oh my
No.
gosh, he does. So last week we talked about if we were in an eating contest, what could we eat? And so Ryan said 2,000 sunflower seeds. So my first question to y'all is, are there 2,000 sunflower seeds in this cup?
Yes.
I have no idea.
What do you think? Do you think 2,000? This is a 44-ounce cup from Stripes.
I'm going to say yes. In 2000, I'm going to say yes. 2000.
Can 2,000 sunflower seeds, 2,000 bigs
Yeah,
fit
2,000. Yeah.
2,000. So you're both wrong. There's a little bit left over in this bag.
Wow, that's still a lot.
But total, this is 2,000.
But there is 2,000 in the cup.
There's two, well,
Not
cup,
quite.
not quite,
But
because the rest
close.
are in here.
Okay.
So I brought both bags so that I could put them back in here, you know, so you can get
Well,
to chewing
now
and
the
spitting.
only negative is that's not the brand.
It's not, but I could not find your brand, so you're gonna have to stop being so bougie. And eat the
It's
bigs.
my mouth.
I'm
It's
just
my
super
mouth.
glad because when I saw the bags there and this cup with a napkin over the top, I thought she was going to pull that off and it was going to be all of her spit holes, and I was going to.
I cannot
So-
spit. That's how this
Yeah.
all got
But
started.
so I can get a bag. We'll get the brand of the bag because the brand matters to survive
I
my.
feel like these are really good.
What do you mean the brand matters?
They're
What's the
salted
difference?
and
We're running out of time, but I'm telling you, Spitz doesn't do what other sunflower seeds do. You can eat Spitz and it won't bother you. So I'll get the bag. We'll test your cup. We'll get the same cup. Well, not that cup. We'll get another cup. Make sure it works. But
'cause
I'm in
apparently
for it.
bigs can't touch spits.
Well, there's reasons why. But anyway, hey, we're glad that you joined us this morning. We're glad that we got Ethan on. Thank you to Mayor Weldon Hurd. Don't forget the Buffalo Run Challenge next week. Send off at 6 on Thursday, the 1st, and then June 3rd, the big welcoming back party at Buffalo Gap at 4:30 with the band starting. Trace, appreciate you
Thanks,
coming
Alex.
in this
Appreciate it.
morning.
Good
Misty,
time.
great job. Enjoy vacation. Enjoy tomorrow. Josh will be back next week, and we'll see you next week. All the things. Have a great one.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
I love it.
That country, John.
All right.
2 hours isn't enough time, is it? I used to experience that.